Well, the Korea Cup continues. We're in the final round of 8 game in the winners bracket. So again, this is the Korea Cup. It's officially called the Healing League, which is misleading, as I said, because it's not a league and the name probably doesn't ring a bell for most people. We had season 1 actually last year, I believe, where they were playing it a bit, but now we're in the second season. We have essentially the same teams, most of them at least, and now we're on our final best of 3 series in the winner bracket. So we went through the quarterfinals. This is the final one. Either Team Reverse or Team Aging Curve are going to advance to the winner bracket semi-final, and the loser then drops down into the losers bracket. So we have a typical double elimination system here in the tournament. And by the way, no draft rules. So very vanilla, same as we had with the North American tournament just recently. Totally vanilla tournament. And now that we're jumping into this, let's see which team is going to take it here. Team Reverse would be the favorite coming into this against the Aging Curve. Aging Curve, by the way, I believe is one of the new teams right now. And we'll see how they perform. But for me personally, at least, the blue team is the favorite going into this. I was a little bit blown away by how crazy some of the quarterfinals, the round of 8 matches were actually. We had so many intense back and forths. Normally when you're talking about a tournament in the first round, that's where you get most of the games that are fairly one-sided, or where you get more one-sided matches than later on. That's at least the idea behind it. I mean, again, you're obviously seeding the teams. You want the top teams to clash later, but we had so many back and forth matches that ended up on the third map, for example. It was a little bit crazy. Vala continues to get banned. If you watch the previous games, I've been talking about her a lot. Her priority was in the last tournament that we ran on the server already very, very high, much higher than she is in the Western scene. But the trend just continues. She just gets banned. Diablo as a premium pick. Garrosh very early together with Tigers taken from the red team. And yeah, with Infernal Shrines being the map, I mean, I would still expect some more AoE to be picked here. Blaze obviously has been banned, so has the Haka. So 2 of the picks that you would oftentimes see on the map have immediately at the beginning been eliminated. Now, with that said and done, Rhaegar with the Lightning Shield helps. So Diablo obviously on this map is just absolutely stellar. You have so many stun opportunities whenever a fight over the shrine breaks out that you can do tons and tons of damage with it. So really good first pick by them. And now just a question, what else is going to get banned here? You have Rain still playing over on the blue team side. So we could also get some, maybe a mage even being banned. Junkrat is something that is very dominant also in the Korean scene here and gets played a lot. And we could for sure get, I don't know, some heroes right now that are a bit more on the mage side, you know, just bring in the extra AoE. That would probably help the teams quite a bit. Get that AoE damage out. We have seen Gul'dan, could see him again here. Don't think too many other mages have been played yet, but it's still very early in the tournament. So we might see our Jaina's later on. Mephisto is another one that was at least played on Tomb of the Spider Queen in one of the previous games. So that's an option of a hero that could still be picked too. Ooh, and we get Kharazim. Look at that. Kharazim for heals. So apparently that Garrosh flip into a 7-sided strike, maybe even with an Entomb to lock the target down from them. Not sure if that's gonna... I mean, for that to be successful, you have to really time it properly. If they can do that, great, but we'll see. We have the double pick now on the side of the blue team. When we get Zeratul. So maybe Void Prison into Apocalypse even. And then on the side lane, we get Imperius. Okay, Imperius as a side laner. And well, that leaves us with one final pick, but already we're off to a pretty good start here. Very aggressive combo from the blue team, at least. So, yeah, that would be pretty neat. Let's see if that works out. Red team, how is the Aging Curve going to react here? We still need one more pick for them. And again, they are lacking a bit of potential. Ah, Sylvanas. Okay. Sylvanas in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Map number 1. And with that, we're heading straight into the first map, Infernal Shrines, of this best of 3 series in the winner bracket quarterfinal. Map number 1 in the best of 3, it's Infernal Shrines, and on the left side we got Team Reverse with Hebin on Diablo, we got Rain on Zeratul. Hanzo played as the only real range damage dealer, with, in this case, now Rhaegar played as the support, the healer, and Imperius for the extra front line, the side laner, and obviously an added stun that the team has in order to change some CC. Over on the right side of the map, we are in the meantime getting the red team, the aging curve with Garrosh. We got Sylvanas and Leoric. And then, interestingly enough, for the heals, we're getting Kharazim, with Tychus being a regular, of course, on Infernal Shrines for the Odin transformation that you can pull off later on. But it's pretty interesting to see them play Kharazim here. It's not really a pick that I personally expected for the map, but, well, we'll see if that works out for them in the long run. If they get an isolation with Garrosh and a 7-sided strike, can certainly see them pick up a couple of kills with it, but it's not going to be easy. They're playing against a pretty experienced team here, and I would be surprised if they got too much out of it. So a bit of damage against Leo. This just helps the top lane. So in this case, you now have Zeratul play up against him, and this is just going to be pretty helpful, because if Leoric starts the solo lane at 50% of his HP, he has to pop the fountain very, very early, and is always a bit of a setback. So if you have heroes like Zeratul, for example, then rotate between lanes later, then can always create an imbalance there. And kind of use that. Talking about imbalance already, a bit of an imbalance in the early game. Garrosh goes down. Garrosh gets murdered. Poor guy has no chance there. And this is, again, a bit of an indicator about the CC train that can get unleashed by the blue team. It's not like every single hero over here has a CC tool, but they certainly have, specifically with Imperia, somebody that can follow up on a Diablo stun, and even the slows that we're seeing from Rhaegar can really help the rest of the team to get some powerful attacks in and make their plays there. So, yeah, pretty curious how this continues and if the red team can fight back on this, because as I said, I have the blue team as a pretty high favorite here. But then again, we had a couple of other matches earlier where I also thought the same, and they went absolutely down the wire, even including an upset that we had in the upper part of the bracket. Zeratul is continuing with a build that focuses very heavily on cleave right now. There is a chance that later on we get Void Prison into Apocalypse if they are trying to play with a Wombo combo. So that could absolutely be a reality. Garrosh already getting attacked again and slowed down. You also have to account for Imperius here, and with Kharazim dashing out, they're currently totally fine. But it will be a difficult one. Will be a difficult game for the red team. Now with Sylvanas, they also have some momentum that they can build up, specifically around objectives, of course, if he gets to that. Now we have at the bottom, still the fight here with Imperius becoming the target and being able to move out. If he gets caught here by Garrosh, then there's a chance that he gets killed. But the shrine gets announced. We're talking about the first objective. Level 7 talents currently unavailable to the two teams. That's of course what they would love to change for this particular one. But let's see who walks away with Punisher #1. There is a lead in experience already for the blue team. But they can build on this a bit. Then they might just be able to get themselves that early level 7 talent and pull it a little bit farther ahead. So, either way, down to the middle. Yes, again, the aging curve trying to... I want to see what the medium age is for these guys. What's the average age of their players if they call themselves the aging curve? How old school are we going on this? I'm a bit curious myself, to tell you the truth. Anyways, level 7 kicks in. Blue team can now start to fight for the shrine, and they're not doing so. They go for something that we have actually seen a lot in the past, also from other teams, also on the European side. So they are just trying to get counter value by pushing at the bottom of the map, completely ignoring the objective. And the whole idea here is that you plan on doing more damage without the Punisher than your opponent can do with it. So that is essentially the idea. And they have done a lot already at the bottom of the map. So some significant damage has been dished out, and they're getting the 4 to 50% of its HP before the opponent moves in. As long as they're not dying here, they're going to be totally fine. And Zeratul is pushing the middle of the map. So it's not only the bot lane that gets attacked. With Zeratul also focusing over towards the mid lane, it means that on 2 lanes they have now done damage to structures. And that makes this insanely annoying for the opponent. So, yep, job well done. Real sweet little move, but they are also overstepping just a tiny little bit move too far out, and then it results in Zeratul getting killed. So that's the first kill for the red team. They also have, of course, the Mortar Punisher, and now it just becomes a question of how much damage can you mitigate here. How much damage is that Punisher essentially gonna do? It shouldn't really do too much. Again, the whole play, the whole idea here was to ensure that that Punisher is not gonna be able to do a whole lot. So we'll see, but it doesn't really look. I mean, again, the wall is down, not even a lot of damage on the fort. Clearly a win for the blue team. They have this one down to 50% of its HP, so them completely disregarding the first objective worked very nicely for them. Later on, they are going to be forced into it, so you can't do that the entire game. But with the first, maybe even with the second objective, you can definitely gamble a little bit and make that move. Obviously, always depending on your team composition and how you're running it, but in this case, it worked out quite nicely. So Leo is back up towards the top. They are all fighting for level 10 now. The blue team is going to be a bit faster. Here comes the Void Prison. Makes it much more likely that we get Apocalypse from Diablo. And indeed, he has locked it in. And they're adding more. The Meme Strike is also part of this. So they're going to Meme Strike it up with Hanzo. Full zone control, apparently, from Meteor. That's the idea here. And the attack continues for now at the bottom of the map as they are trying to take the fort out for good now. So, they take that one out. I mean, now it's a kill versus a kill. Topside fort has also taken a little bit of damage. This is where Zeratul is currently facing off against Diablo. Sorry, against Leoric. Same universe, different character. And we also get the Heavenly Zeal, by the way. Heavenly Zeal for Kharazim, just as Sylvanas gets killed. Nice little trap against Diablo. That would have been pretty neat. Can you imagine Leo moving in from the side, getting a kill, and then moving out? The problem is that they're really starting to fall behind on the macro level. Even with them killing Hanzo at the bottom of the map, taking more and more damage at the top side fort. Yeah, it's tough. Makes it difficult, honestly. Not really an easy position for them to be in. By now, we're also looking at Rain moving in again. They're going to start taking this one out too. So a second, well, technically it's the first fort that falls, but I think that the time of the bottom fort is really numbered as well. But they are losing structures. This is essentially what matters the most, yeah. In experience, they're always clawing their way back a little bit, but it is looking pretty darn good for the blue team. At least for now. With them slowly taking the structures, slowly taking a bit of map control, that objective that we now see spawn is going to become super important. And this kill is also mega important. That was perfectly executed. Zeratul gets caught, gets killed. Now that he's out, oh my god, they are actually going for Apocalypse here? What? They really want that kill. Might even get it, but instead, I suppose they're about to lose Imperius. Yep. Imperius is down. They fought a 4. They forced a 4 versus 5. I don't really understand why. Zeratul is back. He could have just waited for him for the shrine fight. But now it's a Frozen Punisher that gets been fought for. And that is just rough. They kind of gave this up. Now they're getting a fort at the bottom of the map because the red team isn't reacting to it. But this could have been played a bit better. Now they're already so far behind that I don't think re-engaging as the blue team is going to give you a whole lot here. I'm not sure if that's going to happen. I honestly doubt that. But it's a bit of a weird one. They are trying to fight this, and the Punisher is obviously about to be taken. So, yep, there it is. Punisher is in. It's a Frozen Punisher to boot, so that makes things more tricky, because this is quite a powerful one. It's still a little bit weird how the blue team just played this. Now, again, they have destroyed 2 forts. So far, the red team is nowhere near that. But another flip and a 7-sided strike put Diablo in trouble. Here comes the Void Prison, but he doesn't have Apocalypse ready. They are able to get the kill with the dragon. The dragon arrows. The dragon meme strike. So, yeah. I feel a bit sorry, honestly, at this point for the red team. They win an objective. they just lose a hero immediately after, and yeah, it's just a bit tough to watch because it was the position where they were supposed to finally take a bit of a lead. The Punisher is doing more damage than expected because they just left him completely alone, but the Fort has barely taken any damage, and now the final Fort on the red team side is getting attacked through the middle as they're hoping to push this further. So yeah, I mean, again, bit of a tricky one. The Fort's low, 4 kills to 3, but nearly a level advantage now for Team Reverse. And they are going to take this down eventually. It's continuous pressure at the end of the day that they executed so far. And with level 16 talent soon, Reverse should be able to pull something off here too. Now again, down at the bottom of the map, Rain is already starting to move back out. He pushed it. You can tell on the minimap, they pushed the lanes out, all of them. So the red team is continuing to be pinned down in their own base essentially, or pretty close. And they need a teamfight victory. Yeah, going for the objective and winning that would help, but again, we also said that earlier when they were claiming the one in the middle, and it did very little damage for them. Essentially nothing, if we're honest about it for just a moment. So yeah, also tough. But now with level 60 talent as an advantage and the cleave build being continued and basically also done for Zeratul, they can fully exploit the talent advantage and go into the middle to take down the fort here. And this is basically what we're now going to get. Just siege up here, make your play, and see how far you can go with that. We're not quite looking to exit the game here. Thank you, heroes. That wasn't what I was looking for. Alright. So, the fort, as expected, is down. Sieged up on it. Took it apart. So, this one's gone. And now the chance to go for... This is the problem with the next objective for them. The next objective is all going to play around the fountains that you still have, the forts that you still have to fall back, and it just doesn't really seem like there's a lot of wiggle room for them right now. Because once that you don't have a fountain anymore, once that you don't have that fallback option, it makes it really tricky. You have at least Tyker, so he gives you Odin, and that's always a powerful tool. It's one of the main reasons he gets picked on Infernal Shrine so often. But still, if you're not getting... Well, that could help. They get a kill here. Yep, Diablo is down, and that changes things a bit. I was really skeptical at the beginning when they went for that combo, but it's working exceptionally well for them. Now, the Meme Striker is also doing so much better than I thought it would, and they are now picking up the second kill with it, or as a result of it being used. And Zeratul murders the rest of them. Holy hell. That last attack here was nuts. Have a quick look at this last one there. That was crazy. Look at this. So first we have the kill against Tigers, then they're chasing them, everybody's low, and then Zeratul sees them at the choke point, goes in for it, and just brutalizes them. That was perfect from his position here, and it will net them a key. So we already said earlier that there's likely a difference in skill level between the two teams, and it gets highlighted here once again. The keep is down, we're 13 minutes into the game. They've done exceptionally well. These last few fights were great for them. And all the forts are now destroyed. As you can tell, we have 8 kills to 5, so the red team was at least able to fight back a bit. But 34,000 damage for Hanzo, we got 21,000 for Zeratul, and the problem just persists. So getting back into this game will be tricky considering how close the blue team now is to pick up level 20. And of course there's a shrine active at the top, but there was no way for the red team to even make a move for it. So this one is going freely over to their opponent. The blue team is going to grab that. And on top of this, we're already having Zeratul push out the bot lane, open up the wall, or at least attempting to. And since the red team is just desperately trying to prevent the next objective from being claimed, it allows for Zeratul to have even more wiggle room at the bottom, which he already used. Now he is going to play this out by just leaving, letting the catapult in charge, joining up with the rest of the team, likely after he picked up another wave in the middle. That gets them closer to level 20. So they will be grabbing that level 20 talent, ready for that fight. And might even get a kill now. Here comes the engage from Imperius. Zeratul is moving in, gets taunted, 7-sided strike, Wailing Arrow, and gets dropped, but so did Leo. Meme Strike is already out, they're getting zoned away. That's the end of Tychus. Sylvanas is also in trouble. The team, or the remaining parts of the red team at the top, are also barely able to move out of this. it's a toughie. It's a pretty tough one now. Level 20 is in. That gives us Storm Talents, of course, for the blue team. So now they're easily moving towards the top and will continue with the Punisher here. Should be an easy one for them to grab. And after the keep in the middle has been destroyed, I would be very shocked if they weren't able to pick this one up as well. By the way, very surprising. Look at the level 20 talents for Hanzo. That one is a bit shocking. Bullseye is amazing, don't get me wrong. But going Meme Strike and not picking the cooldown reduction is wild. I mean, totally wild. Not something that I have seen a lot, if at all. So that surprises me quite a bit. Normally, you really want to play around the cooldown reduction as much as you can. And they are not doing that in the slightest. So, yeah. They're absolutely dominating, of course, that fight right now. But still, this is a little bit weird to see. Now, either way, the push for the core is happening fairly quickly here. We have 11 kills to 6 now as they're starting to make their way over. The keep is gone. That's the second one that gets lost to the team. Now the core is wide open and should be the next target. Could maybe even take a few of the heroes out. Ancestral is already out. So mass heal coming out as they are pushing for the core. Shield about to go down. Same is true for Garrosh. Punisher jumps in for a piece of the action. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the lead in this best of 3 series. The final round of 8 match. They are absolutely destroying things on Inferno Shrine. Sylvanas and Leoric both fall, so does the core. And that is game. The 1-0 lead for Team Rivers. GG.
Before we head into game number 2, make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it yet so you don't miss out on any future content here on Khaldor TV.
Game number 2, the second map, Aldrich Pass, everybody. So, the aging curve. Maybe they aged a little bit too much. It feels like it's the Korean version of Washed Up, just without the skill. Don't want to be mean here, but at least with the naming, they hit the same tone. They are getting outplayed a little bit by Team Reverse, at least on map number 1. So we've seen it before that sometimes the draft just doesn't come together for you, and then things change once that you're getting a better draft and you're heading into the second game of the series. But right now they have a pretty tall hill to climb here. Aldrich Pass is our second map, and Team Reverse has been pretty dominant, to be frank, on the first map. Now, when it came to some of the team fights, specifically these isolation kills that we got with Garrosh and Karazim as a combo, those were pretty neat, and multiple times it seemed like the red team would get an advantage through those kills, especially when they were timed around, let's say, the objective popping up. But more often than not, that just didn't work out for them, so that's where things then get a little bit tricky. But as it stands right now, the situation is a 1-0 advantage for the team in blue. And yeah, can we force a game 3? Time will tell. But it's not going to be easy. I have to admit, though, that there were a lot of combos where I initially, when they were picked, didn't really think that they would have as much of an impact, and then all of a sudden it worked wonders. The theory, obviously, between Garrosh getting an isolation of a hero and then a 7-sided strike is always there, but it's oftentimes much easier to execute it properly than you'd think, and they did it exceptionally well. Then we had also the meme strike being thrown out there by Hanzo. So lots of really cool comps that came in from both teams. Reverse now with Hogger and with Hanzo as their picks here. Anduin, Junkrat to follow things up, or at least to start things up for the red team. But yeah, I'm a bit curious to see what exactly but specifically the aging curve does now have in mind. I mean, they gotta have something, right? If you are now down one map, if you want to have a chance to make your way through the winner bracket and not drop down into the losers bracket, you gotta have something here that you can do. Zeratul gets banned. You obviously had a huge part of why exactly they lost on the last map. I mean, the one kill that I highlighted again, where they went through the choke point and he just came in, cleaved through them and killed, I believe, 3. That was a bit the nail in the coffin. At that point, they just lost too much. Yeah, I think it was also the moment where the keep itself was lost. But it was a bit crazy to see that. Played obviously in their hands, but yeah, Zeratul had a huge impact on the last game. Now, with that said, next move, quick double pick here. We still need a frontliner. This is usually the map where a lot of the Nubarak has been played on the Indian A tournament, but also in Europe occasionally, just because you want to cheese the objective a little bit. We get Thrall and we get Greymane. Alright, so Thrall, Greymane as picks, and here comes Chen. Chen for the side lane. Triple front line now, by the way. Hogger, Chen, and Diablo. Still need a healer. And it is Uther. That's a lot of melee that they're running here. That is a lot of melee that they're running in this one. But hey, I'm here for it. And also, they need a tank. The red team needs a tank. It's not like they're picking Malthael or something. So they need a main tank. They're not going to main tank Thrall here. It's nearly as bad as main tank Anduin. So, yep, Ulrich pass. Second map of the best of 3 series. We are in the final round of 8 match. I talked about Anubarak earlier. Here he is. And with that, we're now heading into game number 2 of the best of 3. Game number 2, Team Reverse over on the left with Diablo as their main tank. We got Rain on Chen. So Diablo, Chen and Hogger is building the front line for the team. So a pretty heavy melee lineup that they're running, especially since Uther as their support is of course also doubling oftentimes as a main tank. And then we get Hanzo as their range damage dealer. So as we're heading into this, they're facing off against Reverse Aging Curve. The Aging Curve. We have Anubarak, we got Anduin plus Thrall. Thrall could be interesting here. Went into the Trolling Thunders as level 1 talent. Greymane and Junkrat are the 2 damage dealers that we're getting for the game. And with Anubarak, they're of course going to try and cheese the objective a little bit. This is the main reason why he got picked here in the first place. So we'll see what they can do with that bad boy. But, well, as we're heading into the game, who is going to take an advantage on this second map? It's match point. It's match point for the blue team. They got an opportunity right now to lock in a victory here with the 2-0, move on to the winner bracket semi-final, and send their opponent packing into the lower bracket. But was the first game a fluke? Was it just a draft issue? Is there a big skill gap between the two teams? This is the time to find out. Already, of course, it's all about the camps that spawn at the 1 minute mark. It's not really a mercenary heavy map. You have the 2 bosses, of course, and this one is fairly important. But when we're talking about quantity of camps, then it's fairly moderate. There's nothing insane happening usually on this map here. But okay, so with that, already a little bit of a ping pong from Hogger. We have the same thing happening over on the right side. So the teams are doing whatever they can to lock some mid lane power in and push for the lane. Early game, usually just going through the motions here. Highly doubt that we're going to see too much action. Maybe once the objective is actually on the map, we could see Anubarak make an attempt at cheesing something. But after the camps get taken for the first time, there's not really too much to fight for. You want to get your experience, you want to get a little bit closer to level 7, but it's not like you can all of a sudden steal your opponent's camps away or anything of the sort. That's already at the beginning very unlikely because of how they are positioned. So you're just going for lane rotations, hoping to pick up a kill every now and then on the side lane, if you're lucky, but that's essentially it. And that's what they're going to be looking for here. So, as it stands now, at the bottom of the map, we're still looking at Junkrat. And he gets some assistance, maybe? That could be a kill. Yep, and that is. That was a fantastic play. Nicely done. Blue team losing one of their heroes. Junkrat with a perfect misplacement here. Displaces Hogger, pushes him into the tower range, and that then contributes to the kill itself. Sneaky little play. I like it. This is exactly the kind of play that you want to see here. It's kind of fun, well executed, and of course with thingy guy Junkrat helping out after Anubarak came in with a stun. That was pretty spectacular. I love it when they are able to pull off stuff like this. It's always fun, it's always entertaining, and they did it well. So yeah, nicely played here. Now, with that said and done, we're having still camps claimed now that they respawned already on the map. We're having Hogger ping-ponging around over on the right side too. The objective is now up, so technically teams can start making plays for it. And we already have the blue team working exactly on that, so they're moving in on it, trying to steal this one away. Anubarak hasn't made any moves to try and spawn beetles on the left side and attempt to sneak it. But it feels like the blue team is fairly confident heading into this. So they wanna they want to force some of these things. The problem is they're just forcing Diablo down because he gets hit hard, and that is maybe the chance for the aging curve to make their own play here right now. They are definitely going to try. So can the aging curve pull it off? Yes, no, that's the question. Another quick jump already coming in. And Chen, is that kill 3? This is a very different game all of a sudden. 3 kills already for the aging curve. I mean, maybe they just woke up from their midday nap when they've had to play the first one, and now they're absolutely awake. Got their first coffee or something. But this is looking way better. 3 kills to 0 and an objective. Hello? What happened to the team that we saw in game number 1? That looks way better for them right now. That actually looks great. So, not bad. And I am a bit curious. Are we headed for another 3-map? I mean, it's way too early, obviously. We're just 5 minutes in. But this is pretty much the opposite of what I expected after the first map. If you would have told me that the blue team gets off to that start, I would have believed it much more. Well, Thrall at the top lane as he gets pushed out. Yeah, I would have believed it much more easily, but this is a development that I didn't quite have on my bingo card. So, the attacks keep coming. Now it's Thrall that's in trouble. Sorry, Chen that's in trouble. And, well, he is getting swarmed by 4 heroes. The rest has been defended. That fort takes some damage. No fort gets destroyed. But, I mean, that was always a given. The objective, at least the first one on Aldrich Pass, is not strong enough to take several forts out or anything. Later on, that's a very different story. Then you can lose pretty much everything in one fell swoop, but not necessarily in this one. So, yeah, interesting development over here. Now in experience, the blue team is still ahead. They've lost a couple of heroes, they lost a bit of ground here, they lost an objective, but at least when it comes to experience, they are still totally fine. They might walk, they actually will get the early level 10. Don't think it's a window that can be used, but hey, who knows. Right now we get essentially the ults that you would expect, the normal ults, Shockwave, Arrow, no Apocalypse for an additional stun, but instead we're getting the Lightning Breath. And they are making a play for Thrall, who tried to throw out a Thundering, that didn't work for him. And another Rocket Ride. Apparently Korea really loves their Rocket Ride. I like that. This is the 3rd time, okay, this might be wrong, but I believe it's the 3rd time that we're seeing Junkrat. We probably saw it more often. But it's the 2nd time that we're seeing Rocket Ride. And that is way more often that we're seeing on any other server. So, Rocket Ride is in the house. So far, so good. And now, at the top, Rain still pushing. Has to go up against Junkrat here. Can always hop on his little pocket rocket and do some work. But Hogger is doing damage at the bottom 4. Keep in mind, even with the objective, the red team was only barely able to do some damage topside. Anduin for the bubble play once again. The man has all the best words. There's the arrow. Everybody turns into a pirate. Arrgh. Pressing the R buttons, going for the ults, and just crushing it. Divine Shield, they want him! The bubble, the interrupt, the kill! Greymane and Anduin are both gone, and that is the double kill for Team Reverse. They're picking up their first few kills. Oh, and Junkrat nearly gets killed too. He barely makes it out. Diablo dove maybe a bit too deep. Nah, he's fine. He's gonna be fine. Uther is still around and can help him out, but there was a chance for just a moment to maybe get that kill. 2 kills to 3, 12 to 11. More damage done at the top. And Hogger is still working that fort at the bottom of the map. So, yeah, they're just doing work here. So, fort slowly, steadily being taken out. 1 hit at a time. Doing well on this. And then in the meantime, mid lane. This is, of course, where the party also continues with level 13 talents now for the blue team. As they're going for the next camp. So, they're claiming this one. Starting to take it pretty quickly here. That's a nice start into the game. Nice back and forth. First objective taken by Aging Curve, then Reverse comes in, tries to reverse the situation. Great joke. Now it's more or less even. Once the level 13 talent drops, they're there. But the blue team wants to completely switch the momentum in the game now by claiming the objective and seeing if they can, with that, just go all out here. Take them on maybe, drop them quickly. I mean, right now it's still level 13. Well, they're gonna get it. There it is. 13 versus 13. And Uberak is still dead! Gets Hanzo'd, Arrow, and Barbecue. They're trying to escape. They might even be able to get away here, but they're not going to be able to negate the objective. So we're going to get some cavalry into the game. After the Raiders were present earlier, the cavalry is now also going to come in. This is happening at the 10-minute mark, so now it's scaled already a bit more. And to make matters worse, this bottom fort is going to fall before the cavalry even makes it here. Now the bosses are of course up too, and I think once that the objective has been defeated, we're going to see those being fought over pretty quickly. Now all the way up at the top, Rain is currently doing his thing on the minion wave, and Junkrat needs to be super careful. In the middle, they're doing the same thing that they started to do at the bottom of the map. They're softening up the fort to make it more likely that with the cavalry they can take it out. That would be the second fort that falls, and as usual, that would make distance to safety a lot bigger, would make things tricky, and it's not even being contested. They're getting this one essentially for free here. That's essentially what happens. Yeah, absolutely crushing that one. No chance, so easy hits. And they're even opening up the wall at the bottom keep. Now, everything on Alternate Pass hinges around you taking keeps out and removing armor shields from the core. But they open the bottom wall up. They're hoping for a kill, which they couldn't get. But with Chen working the top lane, and by the way, eliminating the final fort, they are now moving in here and are going to be able to do a bit more with that. And with a bit more, I mean they're opening the next wall up. So wall after wall gets opened up right now and makes things very, very difficult for them. Does this damage... I mean, again, guys, we are very early in the game right now. And they are just losing way too much here. They've lost every single fort, they lost the walls, and now they're losing hit points on the keep too, simply because there's level 16 on the other side. You have level 16 talents, you have a massive advantage, and they're just sieging up on the opponent for that very reason. So Hanzo now with 30,000 damage, to be fair, the same as Thrall. But look how quickly they're removing the hit points here. And it's 1.5 levels, not quite, but still, until level 16 talents are going to be available for the red team. So they're going to lose this, and the blue team might just decide that they're moving on to the next lane and try to do the same thing once again at the bottom of the map, for example. And why wouldn't they? If they can keep poking like this, they can remove 2 of the armor shields from the core without having to even properly fight for it. So it's kind of bananas when you think about it. And once those armor shields are removed, you can go core. That core is seriously vulnerable, specifically if you're able to, let's say, pick up a boss and then play around that. And here we are. They are going to get that keep. The red team is desperately trying to get level 16 talents, and it's not happening. It's just simply not happening. So that's your keep destroyed, and I don't even know what they're going to do now. Are they just moving towards the top and try and... Nah, well, prisoner camp is coming up, so I suppose they're going to go for the objective. They could just simply go for the boss at the bot lane, to be honest with you. I think that would already do the trick here. But either way, no matter what they do... Arrow comes in, connects, barbecue! And if they're losing more than one, that's game. And Uberak goes down as well. This should be game. Now they're moving in. 2 armor shields are removed from the core. This is the big opportunity right here, and they are using it. Nice. And the win is gone. They're killing Greymane. A 2-0 victory at this point is absolutely inevitable for Team Reverse. They move on to the winner bracket semi-final. Job well done. And they're sending Aging Curve down into the losers bracket. All direct pass goes to the blue team. Nicely done. Well played. Very dominant performance here by them. Clearly the favorite for this particular best of 3. And with that, they take it 2-0. GG. Well played.
Thank you everybody for watching the video today. I hope that you enjoyed the show and the commentary. And keep in mind that the spoiler protection that is going to run for the rest of the video is made possible by all the support on patreon.com. So guys, if you want to support my work, if you want to help me start new projects and keep the spoiler protection in place, please consider heading over to patreon.com/Khaldor. There's also a link in the YouTube description, and check that out. Thanks in advance, and see you guys next time with more esports coverage here on Khaldor TV. Have a great day.